Let me tell you about the greatest of all time.
There you go.
SmackDown versus Raw 2007.
That's what I'm saying, dude. That's what I'm saying. I've been saying that. I've been preaching that for years, bro. I'm tired of your everybody. WCW, NWO Revenge, WrestleMania 2000. Mike, do a little Google ski for me and search up WrestleMania 2000 video game. Tell me about these graphics right now.
WrestleMania 2000 video game.
Everyone's like, "Oh my god, this is the best game where you could customize this, that, and whatever." No one people play that game to this day. Hate to break it to you, that game is not great anymore. It's trash. Yeah, I know it has nostalgia and it's fun and whatever, but it's not the greatest wrestling game ever.
No, and the thing is,
it was fun though. At the time, it was one of the best games. It was fun. You could customize things. You can make weird rings. You could hack it to make your own whatever. You could make different wrestlers. Like everyone had people like New Japan, TNA, like WCW. Like people will customize this thing to whatever they wanted.
Here's the thing. At the end of the day, it's whatever you played as a kid. That's your favorite. You know what I mean? It'll always be whatever you remember playing as a kid that you'll always call back to. And when people say, "Oh, the best this, the best that," that's what you connect with the most. Which is why I like SmackDown vs. Raw 2007 so much.
Raw 2007. This game was amazing. This was the first game. I believe this wasn't a play. I feel like the first couple of SmackDown vs. Raw, I think 2005 and 2006 were PlayStation exclusives.
Mm-hmm.
Can't talk anymore. But SmackDown vs. Raw 2007 came for all platforms. I had it on the PSP. I would play this every day. I got a PSP and SmackDown vs. Raw 2007 in Christmas of 2006, and I straight up played this game start to finish. I even like when I first played the storyline, I played it. I reset it to play it again. That's how much fun I had. It had the best soundtrack. It had modern day music, like the great soundtrack where you actually click through on your PSP, or I don't know how you did it. I assume all platforms you could do this, where you click I believe the select button and it would change the music. It had a good 45-minute playlist, which a couple months ago I went back and went on YouTube and searched for that playlist because someone on Twitter put one of the songs when you're up at 3 a.m. playing SmackDown vs. Raw and you hear that soundtrack. And I gotta hear every single song on this.
If we're gonna start off with the soundtrack, then yeah, I pulled up the Spotify SmackDown vs. Raw 2007. I feel like I have a playlist that I had saved for years now at this point. I'm looking for that one because that one I think is better than the one that I found. But legitimately, I remember just about every song. If I heard it, I'd be like, "Oh, that's that song from SmackDown vs. Raw 2007," because it's just such an iconic. The songs were whatever. There wasn't many. It wasn't a lot of big named bands, but it's just the songs you connected them with.
Grace? I don't know. Rise Against.
Let's see, where is this thing? I don't. Okay, so we got
look at the graphics of SmackDown vs. Raw right now.
Let's start a riot.
Let's start a riot. Yeah. That's 3 Days Grace, I think.
Oh, Animal I've Become. That's another good one.
Go look at the graphics of SmackDown vs. Raw right now. They're not bad. You could play right now and be fine with it. Obviously we're in 2020 and we know what it looks like now.
I'm listening to Animal I've Become, and man, I'm ready to do some crowd surfing. Dude. Let's go.
But you know what I mean for graphics? Look at it now.
Yeah, the graphics aren't that bad.
7 years later from that game to that game, it's crazy. I feel like it had everything. Remember that GM mode it had? You could create your own roster and kind of how NBA and NHL, you could make a simulation of your whole roster, your whole team.
I'll be honest. Mostly the only thing I did was I just did exhibition matches and I would do I think the Money in the Bank was one of them maybe. I feel like
a Buried Alive match. Oh, this one you could I feel like this was the first game where you could fight in the crowd. I remember.
Okay.
This was the best wrestling game ever. I feel like in our time for wrestling games, the screen
money
even today, people on Twitter make those TikTok memes of SmackDown versus Raw.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is, I feel like a universal thing where everyone had SmackDown versus Raw 2007.
So I'm just a playlist bullet with a name on it. I used for a video
Like
package one
and that
point.
Triple H iconic cover.
Yeah, that's a good one. Was it?
What a great game overall it was. Like I remember getting '08 and like it was like this big thing that the ECW roster was in there, but it wasn't really ECW. It was ECW WWE version, which
Mm-hmm.
essentially was like a higher tier NXT. Um, but yeah, SmackDown vs. Raw 7, and then like over the years they would add stuff which was good, but it wasn't as drastic of a jump as '07 was. Like '09 I thought was good. I remember they made like a big deal of like, having like hot tags. Like, oh my god, they're like in these crazy cinematics like throughout the game. But like I don't know, '07 was like I don't know how to compare it. I think maybe my next favorite was maybe 2011 SmackDown versus Raw. I had a really fun time playing that game, and then it went to like WWE. I guess like it was like WWE 12, WWE 13, and then it was like the 2K era we went up to, and after when we went to the new consoles like the Xbox One and the PS4 is when I kind of stopped playing wrestling games because that's when I felt like I literally bought the game, made a character. I'd play the storyline, like the story mode, whatever extra special features or new thing they had that year. Um, Create a wrestler, and then that would be it.
So I got okay. So what's it called? So SmackDown versus Raw 2008. I think I had it for the Wii. I had it for the PlayStation 2. I had it for the PSP. And then 2009 is when I got.
By the way,
I
that
just
PSP SmackDown vs. Raw for the PSP, that was like a game changer.
Oh, dude, I know because that's 2009. I remember playing on the PSP a lot
Like,
because I had the
did you
DS
ever
on the
play those
cover.
Nintendo DS games or like Game Boy wrestling games?
Oh, those were terrible.
Like like SmackDown vs. Raw, you're literally playing an actual video game versus that you're playing like an arcade game on the go.
I mean, we could do a whole podcast on the PSP itself because that was like an iconic, game-changing like system in my opinion.
I feel like the Nintendo DS was a game changer, and then the PSP was like hold my console. You know,
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, I'm looking at these covers too, and like they're really good. And then I remember I had like the 2012 WWE 12 with Randy Orton on the cover.
that was
Um,
I think that was a great game too. That was like the CM Punk one, right? Or was that 2013?
no, 2013 was the CM Punk one. 2012, I remember that being the first one that like I think the first one that I got on the PS3, and that was like fun to play. Um, and then like that was like always that was the start of like going over to my friend's house to play, different matchups and stuff. And WWE 13 obviously with the big Punk build up.
I remember this was a big deal because they had the limited edition. You got the Austin autograph and everything.
I don't remember that, but I
I remember
remember
that. Everyone,
the
like a lot of people, had the limited edition. I didn't really care. I just didn't bother with it. Um, I remember when I was a kid, my friend had a GameCube, and it was like WrestleMania, like WWE WrestleMania 18, the video game, WWE WrestleMania 19, the video game. Those were super fun to play when I was younger.
I'm looking at a comparison between SmackDown versus Raw 2011 and WWE 12, like the graphics. And honestly, SmackDown versus Raw 2011 looks a lot better. like, like if I'm
You
being
ever look at the
honest here.
graphics now? Someone compared the TNA Impact game to WWE 20, and the Impact game looked like it had better graphics.
Here's the thing. After the WWE 13, because what was WWE 14? Let me see what the cover was so I
It
can
was the
remember.
Undertaker.
Oh, that was The
I remember
Rock.
that was a great one. That was like the Undertaker who beat the streak.
The 2014, the 2K14 game. I remember they had the reversible cover with Daniel Bryan on it.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah.
okay,
Everyone did the
so
flip cover.
oh, definitely. So 2013 was the last game that I bought. Um, obviously because of the Punk on it, but that was just the last game like that I cared about. Because honestly, at that point, I was just like, "What's the point of a wrestling game?" Like,
Honestly, that's what I
don't
said.
get it.
That's exactly what I said. I'm like, and as weird as it sounds, I saw Cena on the cover and I was like, eh. And then I still played the Undertaker. Like Literally, I would play Undertaker versus Undertaker so much on that 2K game for some reason. I don't know why.
Well, that's
But
like I always joke about this, but when there's like a match on Raw where it's like 15 people in one match, I say that's the match that you do the first time you get the new video game because you want to see all the entrances. Like, I mean, that was literally the only point of, doing that. So, was like to, have the entrances and see what it was like. And then I didn't buy another game until 2K17. I think I bought that for like $20 at GameStop. Might have been
yeah,
cheaper, might be more. But I bought that. I don't think I played it once. I think I played it like at my friend's house, and I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be a great game. I can't wait." And then I was just like, honestly, what's the point? Like, you know what I mean? If that if the wrestling game was free on like the PlayStation Store, maybe I'd download it just to try it out, and just see what it's like. Because I remember, I want to say it was 13. If I can look it up real quick. I think there's 13 was the one that had the roster with Otunga on it. Because I think that was after like 2012 and the whole John Laurinaitis thing. I'm looking at a picture of the roster and I can't find him. Wait,
honestly,
there
I
he
should pop
is.
in one of my old SmackDown vs. Raw because when you make your like one of your your favorites at the time, the champions.
Mhm.
I'd actually want to go back and be like, oh, who's a champion on my roster? And like,
So
oh, I actually like that guy.
I remember we even did like online games with like me and Tommy and Michael, just
Did you
because
ever
we wanted to play as Otunga and
did you
like
ever have the Impact game?
um, honestly, I always saw it at the store, like at Walmart. I always saw it for like $12 at Walmart, but I just never made a thing to buy it.
I was such an Impact fan. I bought that game brand new, like, and I loved it. Like, it
Wow.
was actually people didn't like it because it actually was like a challenging wrestling game.
I
Like
don't
it would
even.
like the moves, like when you fought the computers and stuff, they would actually reverse and like everything. Like they would it was actually hard to play, which
I
actually was
remember
kind
the
of fun
cover.
because when you beat it, it was like, oh, I actually beat this hard game.
I remember the cover with Kurt Angle, but that's about it.
Yeah,
I feel
TNA
like
Impact.
I don't even know. And then I remember at one point I wanted them to make like a Ring of Honor video game, and they made like a custom cover for it, and
Yeah.
um, like that would have been cool. I think in the next 2 years we're gonna get an AEW video game. Um, I think that they're working on that right now, but I don't know what that's gonna be like because now they have like Fire Pro Wrestling. I think that's the video game that
Oh, that game
Craig
is
always
just like a
plays.
it's like a retro arcade game.
hmm I don't know. I just can't get into wrestling games like I can hockey or NHL or like Madden, or I just recently got into NBA,
I
um,
remember like
FIFA.
I remember when I started buying like I guess I was like later as like older as a teenager when I started buying like WWE like 12 and 13 or whatever and I'm like there's so much customization and stuff like I'm like I feel like I'm wasting all these features because I don't have time to do any of this like before like when you're younger and you're like oh I could just play this game for 8 hours straight, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and plus like with me, I just want to pick up a game and like play it real quick and then like move on with my day. Like that's why I can't play story games. Like The Last of Us 2 just came out, and I never played Last of Us 1. I own it, but I never played it. Um, but I did watch Uber Haxter Nova, which is like one of my favorite gaming YouTubers. His playthrough of it. I watched like the first one, and then he did the second one when it came out, and I watched that, and that was like 20 something hours of gameplay, and it's like a
Mhm.
story. And to me, I'm not going to sit down for 25 hours to play like a story game. I'd rather just watch someone else play it because it's more entertaining that way for me. So that's why I just like with WWE video games, you got to put too much effort into it. And maybe now that I'm older and I get how like I'll be honest, I get now how wrestling works. I think it might be more fun to play those games. So I might like go find one of my old games or something and like pop it in, or see if I can get one of the games like cheap on the PlayStation Store. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things that like I don't think I'll ever buy another wrestling game of new unless it's like a really good deal and I can play as like, Kevin Owens or Adam Cole or Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano,
You
like,
know what's funny? A lot of those games like that came out recently came with pops, and the pops are actually the rare things out of the games. If you bought like the limited edition things,
Yeah, that Hogan. We don't talk
which is
about him
kind of
on the show, but that Hogan.
what? How much is that Hogan worth?
Probably a lot. I think the last time I checked, it was up to 200.
Oh, Griff has it at his house. Isn't that
Hulk,
2K15?
Hogan, WWE, 2K, Funko, live on eBay. Let's see. That one's going for right now. It's got 11 bids. You can get the Ric Flair and the NWO Hulk Hogan for 256. That's what the bid's up to right now. Let me go to
I
sold
feel like Griff
listings.
owns both of those. Yeah,
This one
I
sold for
think
$250 alone.
so. Yeah, there you go. Should have bought if you want to invest. You should have bought the limited edition. Those are worth way more money now.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna resell stuff, then yeah, that's the way to go. But I mean, Hulk
Honestly, if you
Hogan,
buy it, and you could like flip it and just make your money back.
yeah, if you resold everything. But then again, like at that point, I mean, that was 2K15. Like no one was really into pops. You know what I mean?
You know what's funny? That thing I bet you went on sale for $50 at one point. At one time.
Oh, definitely on WWE Shop. They were like trying to get rid of it. I'm gonna right now. Hold on, because the game now sucks this year, right? So I wonder what.
Oh no, that game was so bad. It was so bad. They had an Edge autograph, and half of the Edge ones weren't even signed. And Edge was like, "Oh,
Oh,
hey, if your thing wasn't signed, send it to my PO box, and I'll send it back to you."
dude, that's like. I mean, this game was just like a disaster.
One of
Um,
the worst wrestling games ever in
I don't
history.
think they're gonna have a game next year either. So that's pretty crazy. For something to be that bad and not have, you know, not have it is like crazy. So, but I don't know. Video games. SmackDown versus Raw 2007. Always going to be the OG game. So that's it.
There you go. We're out of here.
Yeah.